Two of the most conservative institutions in global finance just put their balance sheet behind Ripple. The first one is Neuberger Berman, which is one of the largest asset management firms in the world. They manage approximately $500 billion on behalf of pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, charitable foundations, and families with generational wealth. The second one is Standard Chartered, which is a top tier global bank with a banking history that traces back to 1853. They are a major presence in cross border finance across Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. These are not crypto funds. These are not venture firms chasing the next narrative. These are the kind of institutions whose entire business model depends on getting underwriting decisions right over decades, not quarters. And recently, both of them signed on putting their own balance sheet behind Ripple's institutional operation. So this is two of the most cautious capital allocators on the planet telling the market that the underwriting math on Ripple now works at the institutional level. So I want to walk you through what really happened and why the names matter more than the dollar amount and why this is the kind of signal that compounds for years. And by the way, I'm Camila Stevenson, and around here we talk wealth. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you have not already so you do not miss the next videos. And I want to say this is not financial advice. This is only for educational and entertainment purposes. Do your own research and drop in the chat. Do you plan on investing in Ripple's company at any point, or are you just going to stick with investing in XRP? I'm just curious if that's been on the table for you or not. Or are you just not invested in either because you do not think XRP will do well? All right, let me lay out exactly what happened. So Ripple just closed a $200 million revolving credit facility. A revolving credit facility is a committed line of capital that a company can draw down, repay, and then draw down again as the business needs it. Think of it like a corporate version of a credit line, except instead of being extended by your local bank, this one is being underwritten by two of the most established institutional names in global finance. The two participants are, again, Neuberger Berman and Standard Chartered. Now, you may not know much about those names, so let me help you to understand them. Neuberger Berman is one of the largest privately held investment management firms in the world. To give you a sense of scale, they manage approximately $500 billion. That's $500 billion under their roof. And the people who entrust them with that money are the most cautious capital allocators on the planet. These are pension funds that have to pay retirees for decades, sovereign wealth funds that protect entire countries, charitable foundations that exist to last forever, and also families with generational wealth. These are not investors who chase trends. They hire firms like Neuberger Berman specifically because they want capital protected across multiple decades. So when Neuberger Berman puts their name on something, the underwriting math has to work conservatively. And depending on where you're from, some people do pronounce it as Neuberger Berman. Okay, but I am American, so I pronounce it Neuberger. Now, Standard Chartered is acting as the anchor banking partner on this deal. So if you've never heard of them either, here is a quick version so you can know. Standard Chartered is a major global bank with a banking history, again, that goes all the way back to 1853. That is 170 years of doing nothing but cross-border finance. So they are especially dominant across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, which is the part of the world where most of the future growth in global trade is happening. So when Standard Chartered signs as the anchor on a credit facility, that means they led the legal and credit work. Every box behind that signature has gotten checked. The legal opinion, the credit committee approval, the reputational risk review, the regulatory engagement, and the audit trail. So the executive committee has signed off, and none of that happens overnight. It happens after months and sometimes years of due diligence. So that $200 million credit facility is what backs Ripple's prime brokerage operation. A prime brokerage is the institutional service line that gives professional asset managers a single relationship for custody, trading, settlement, and financing. hedge funds and asset managers do not want to manage 12 separate vendor relationships to operate in the digital asset space. They want one institutional grade counterparty that handles all of it. That is what Ripple is building, and that is what Neuberger Berman and Standard Chartered just put their balance sheet behind. Now, let me explain why the dollar amount is not the highlight, okay? So I want to address this because you may be thinking that $200 million does not sound like a particularly large number when you're talking about institutions of this size. For example, JP Morgan extends multi-billion dollar credit lines to its corporate clients every quarter. Standard Chartered itself manages assets in the trillions. So why does 200 million matter at all? Well, here is the answer. The headline number is, again, the smallest part of this. The part that matters is who. A $200 million credit facility from a regional bank or from a specialty crypto lender would be a different signal entirely. A $200 million revolving facility from Neuberger Berman and Standard Chartered is a structural signal. Those two names do not put their balance sheet on the line for headline value. They put it on the line because the underwriting works at the institutional level and because they want to be the incumbents inside Ripple's capital stack as it scales over the next decade. So moves are being made if you can be patient and do what they do, right? So this is how institutional credit always works. The first facility is always the smallest. It is the introductory commitment. And then once the operational track record is in place, the facility expands. 200 million today becomes 500 million next year. 500 million becomes a billion the year after. The scaling factor is not what you will see on the headline. Trust me, it is what comes after. And the institutions that get inside the first facility are the ones who hold the relationship as the scaling happens. Think about it. This is also a meaningful shift in posture. Traditional finance and crypto have spent years circling each other with skepticism. Banks were not signing credit facilities for crypto companies even 3 years ago. So the fact that Standard Chartered and Neuberger Berman are now publicly underwriting Ripple's prime brokerage means the perception of regulatory risk, counterparty risk, and reputational risk has come down significantly inside these institutions. That perception shift is what unlocks the next round of institutional flow in the entire space, not just into Ripple. When the most cautious names in global finance say the underwriting works, the rest of the institutional class, they're going to pay attention to that. Okay. So there's also one more piece that I want to mention. Standard Chartered has been building serious digital asset capabilities for years through its subsidiary called Zodia Markets and Zodia Custody. They are not just an outside observer here. They are an active participant in the institutional crypto stack, which means their credit committee already has deep technical familiarity with the operational risk of a company like Ripple. So that makes their underwriting signal even more credible because it's coming from an institution that genuinely understands the risk that they are taking. So they're not learning crypto by signing this deal. They have been building towards this for years, and the deal is visible output of that work that they've been doing. Okay. So now, everything we covered, it is in one direction. And the most conservative capital allocators in the world are now underwriting Ripple. This is not a moment. This is a start of a multi-year institutional flow cycle into XRP infrastructure. The credit facility is the first visible piece. The expansion of the facility comes next. The institutional asset managers who use Ripple's prime brokerage to deploy personal capital into the XRP ledger is going to come after that. Each step builds on the previous one, and you have to see this. You got to just follow the path, okay? The flow is going to get larger. The infrastructure is going to get deeper. The repricing of the asset eventually follows this, but you need to take your time with understanding that things do take time. You need to take time to understand that. They already understand that. This is work that you have to do, and really the work is inside of you. Now, here is what I want you to think about. When the underwriting math at the institutional level changes the way it just did, the people who already have a position in the underlying asset benefit, but the people who built their position the right way benefit far more than that. So Standard Charter and Neuberger Berman just put their name behind the institutional rails of XRP. The question is for you, whether you have put your own name on the right vehicle to hold your XRP position while those rails finish getting built. So this is why I do hold a portion of mine inside of a Roth IRA through iTrust Capital. I own XRP and XLM and Quant and a lot of the crypto that I believe in. The institutions underwriting Ripple right now think in decades. A Roth IRA is the only structure available to ordinary investors that thinks in decades too. So every dollar of appreciation inside the Roth IRA stays completely yours forever. No capital gains, no tax drag while the institutional flow cycle compounds. And when the rails finish getting built and the asset reprices over the next several years, the Roth IRA is the vehicle designed to capture the entire benefit, not a fraction of it, okay? And I just say the next couple of years, but I believe that this financial infrastructure will keep moving in one direction over the span of the next decade. So iTrust Capital is the platform that opened the door to holding real native XRP inside of a retirement structure, along with several, again, other digital assets and precious metals in the same account. So there is a $100 funding bonus when you fund the account. If you use the link in the description, that is something that they offer to my community. And also there is one other thing I want to say, watching institutions like Standard Chartered move is very informative, but knowing what their move means for your specific situation, your timeline, your existing accounts, and the order in which you should be repositioning, that is a different conversation that no video can solve for you. So that is why I do have my one-on-one clarity calls. We sit down together. We look at every account that you have. We map out what you should move where so that nothing falls through the cracks. And you walk away with a real written plan that you can actually act on. And you will have clarity instead of the chaos and the theoretical ideas that run through your head about your finances. We also have my coaching community. It's open for ongoing weekly support training and a group of people building together through exactly the cycle that we just walked through. And trust me, this environment is changing by the day, and it's good to have accountability and training and ongoing help and coaching and live Q&A at your disposal so that you can know the direction that you should be going in. Now, both links are in the description. The institutional cycle is being underwritten right now, so get clear on your own plan before it accelerates. Now, don't forget to drop in the comments if at some point you'll be interested in investing in Ripple, or is that a pass for you? I want to hear from you, and like the video and subscribe if you have not already, and just understand that the institutions doing the underwriting are not waiting for proof. They are placing the proof. So watch who shows up first. They are the ones telling you where the next decade is being built. And as always, I want you to stay wise, stay wealthy, and I'll see you in the next video.